Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome once again to another rendition. Mr. Ray's Real Estate Millionaires Investors, baby. We are here today. Telling you what, I was not as excited about coming in doing this as I am right now. This is a very, very important message. Oh, first of all, radio check. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, let's get let's get this party going. So today we're going to talk about how to select and manage contractors. All right, that's a very, very important thing that I want you to understand. Contractors will make and break your business in real estate, right? How you select them, how you manage them, it makes all the difference in the world. All right, so let's get this party started. Stay muted. Please ask your questions in the comments section and provide some feedback on how I can improve. Nobody's ever given me any feedback, so I must be doing pretty good, or you're just scared to tell me if I'm doing bad. Anyway, make sure you give me some feedback, baby. I need that in order to get better. So let's talk about a little Rayism today. Those that are grateful for what they have get more things to be grateful for. Isn't that so true? If you're thankful and you're grateful for what you got, Lord has a way of continuing to bless you. You know, the Bible talks about over in Philippians, he says, be anxious for nothing, but in prayer and supplication, he says, with thanksgiving, that's gratefulness, let your request be known to God. And he said, the peace of God it's just gonna get in your heart, and it's gonna explode in your heart, that peace of God. So make sure you're grateful for what you got. I know you ain't got everything you want to have, but be grateful for what you have. Come on, somebody. Stop being all mean. Give God some grace some grace for being graceful to you. All right, let's get this party started. So we got a lot of stuff we're going to try to cover today. We're going to look at the homework from last week, see how you did. I think everybody's improving on the homework, getting some practice. You know, practice makes perfect, so continue to get that practice in. And then we're going to talk about what do you really want from your contractors? How you going to find and keep them? What are the 3 types of contractors? I got 6 commandments for working with contractors. And then I want to talk about 3 types of contractors, and then how do you manage the whole progress to completion, okay? So make sure you write down your questions or ask your questions over in the chat box. And I'm going to get through this thing in about 15 or 20 minutes. And then I'm gonna allow you to ask me any questions that you want. All right, let's get this party started. So what do you really want from contractors? Well, one of the things you want them to be as cheap as you can, and to some degree, it depends. You want them to be fast. You want the project to get done on time. You don't want them to drag it out, and you want quality. So you want good efficiency as far as money. You want quality. You want quantity. But at the end of the day, baby, you're only going to get 2 of these, right? You're not going to get all 3. So I don't care what contractor you've got, whichever one you pick, you're going to have to figure out, hey, which 2 of these are more important? Is it better to get it fast and get quality, or get it cheap, or am I going to get it cheap and fast? You can't get all 3, baby. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. Most contractors they're going to give you 2 of them. Rarely will you find one that's going to give you all 3. So how do I find contractors, Mr. Ray? Well, the best way to find great contractors is to ask other contractors, great contractors, referral, because good contractors know other good contractors. They hang out together, right? And the other way you find it by finding some great investors. Ask great investors, who do they use for contractors? And you get referrals from them. So the best way to get them is to get referrals. Now, some people say what you need to do is go to Home Depot or Lowe's early in the morning, about 6 o'clock in the morning. That's when the best contractors are in there and they're getting ready. If you drop your card, give them your card. That's some ways. Somebody said that's a good way to find it. I agree with that, because the good contractors are over there early, getting their stuff, getting ready to go. But anyway, good contractors are very, very hard to come by, but it'll make or break your business and determines whether you're going to be a millionaire or not. So let's talk about the 3 different types of contractors. First of all, we have what I call the handyman type. These are the guys and girls that are jacks of all trades, right? They're easy to find. They're everywhere. A lot of times they'll have a little, a little something on the side of their vehicle, and they're just riding around trying to get some business. They're very inexpensive. Most of the time, the quality is not that great. They usually work for cash, baby. They like you to pay them that cash. They don't have a license, and they normally don't have insurance, and they're very unpredictable, right? This is the handyman type, but they're cheap, but you don't know when, if they're going to show up sometime. You don't know what quality work they're going to give you. Every now and then you'll find a good handyman, but a lot of them, they're pretty flaky, baby. You got to watch out for them. The other type is what I call the middle of the road. These are licensed guys and girls. They're bonded, they got good quality work, and they're reasonable prices. These are hard to find. Very, very hard to find. They do very good work, reasonable prices, and they usually stay busy, so it's hard to get these types. And then there's the third type. This is the professional quality type. This is the top of the line. They're very expensive. You get a very detailed scope of work, and it's usually hard to schedule these guys because they stay hooked up. These are the guys that if you're doing a rehab and you're doing a flip, you want to use these guys because they're going to make sure they give you a quality product, okay? But you got to make sure that you manage them right. So those are the three types of contractors. Now, Mr. Ray is about to give you his 6 commandments of working with contractors. 6 commandments. You need to keep these things in mind as you're working with a contractor. First of all, thou shalt not always hire the cheapest contractor, right? If you get 3 or 4 bids in and you look at them and say, well, one guy is 2 or 3 of them around $2,000 or $3,000, and you get one guy come in for $1,000, that may not be the person you want to go with, right? Because sometimes you get what you pay for, right? So the cheapest is not always the best. Sometimes it is, but it's not always. The second commandment is thou shalt not always use the same contractor, right? The reason why you don't want to do this because I found out that after you use them a few times, the prices start creeping up a little bit. They're not as attentive to you. And so you got to make sure that you bid them against other people, right? Don't let them think that they're the only contractor that you use, because a lot of times when they get real cozy with you, the prices start creeping up and they don't give you the same quality of service that you. That's been my experience. So thou shalt not always use the same one. Thou shalt not use contractors that are not licensed and insured. Especially if you're new to this game, it's very, very important that you make sure the contractors that you use are licensed and insured. They're licensed, that gives you a warm fuzzy that they know what they're doing. Insured, if thing goes awry, somebody gets hurt on the job, you want to make sure that their insurance is going to be able to cover those injuries, right? Because if something happens, they're not insured. Guess who they're going to come back on? The person that hired them, whoever owns that property. And then thou shalt not pay contractors too much too early. When I say that, a lot of contractors, they like a lot of money up front, right? We need, if it's a $10,000 job, they want $5,000 up front. Don't do that. No, don't do that, baby. Because the more money you give them up front, the less that they're going to be willing to finish out that job in the end, right? So pay them over time. I like to spread it out on quarterly payments, right? You get a quarter of it up front. You get another quarter when you're halfway done. You get another quarter, 3/4 done, and then you get the last quarter when you're done. Also, thou shalt not do a job without a detailed budget. And this is particularly true if you're doing a major rehab. When you're doing a rehab that's over $40,000, $50,000, you need to make sure that you have a detailed budget that's written out, that spells out everything that's going to be done on that property, right? How change orders are going to work, how money is going to flow, what the timeline for completion, all that should be included in the detailed budget. And then thou shalt always put a timeline in there, right? You always say this project should be completed in 30 days. And if you can, you need to put some penalty in there if it's not going to be completed in that 30 days. So there's three types of rehab projects I want to talk about. First is what I call the minor cosmetic. This is where you're just going in, you buy a property, all you're gonna do is do painting, ceiling fans, fixtures, you might change some carpet, things like these are minor things, right? Secondly, is what I call a medium, where you're actually gonna go in, you may change some counters, you may change some appliances out, do some windows and doors, things like that. I call that a medium rehab. Depending upon the side of the house, that could be, $5,000 to $10,000. The first one is about $5,000. And then this last one, major rehab, where you're doing everything, the doors, the windows, the painting, the roof, is heat and air. I mean, you're talking at least a $50,000 rehab here. This is a major rehab. So you want to make sure that you bring in top quality people to do these types of rehab. The minor, you might use the handyman guy, but no, you're going to get what you pay for, right? He's going to be a lot cheaper. He's going to get it done for you, but it may not be the best quality, and he may or may not show up sometime. All right, so those are the three types of projects. Now, how do we screen contractors, Mr. Ray? First thing I like to do is do a pre-screen on the phone, right? I want to call them and talk to them a little bit, just ask them a little bit about, how many crews they've got, what type of work do they do? Do they have license? Can they pull inspections for electricians and plumbers and all that? I just want to get a good feel for their skill level. Do they provide a general contracting? Do they sub out anything, or do they have people working for them? And then if I can, I like to talk to them in person, see them face to face, especially if it's a major rehab. And then just Google them. Go out there and see their website, see if there's any people talking about them, see if there's any reviews, find out everything you can about them online, right? If they don't have an online presence and they're supposed to be a top line contractor, then they should have something online that you should be able to find them on. And then always ask for referrals. Ask for referrals on the job that they've completed or the jobs that they're currently working on, because you want to see the quality of work, and you also want to talk to the people that they're doing work for, help them, so you get some good idea around, how are they to work with, do they keep their word? Is the quality of the work there? Do they have a lot of change orders, things like, talk to those references and make sure they're verifiable references, right? But sometimes contractors will give you references and they'll show you only the jobs that went good. They won't let you talk to people that maybe they had some problems with. So they make sure you check those references. And then verify. Make sure you verify those references, right? Give them a call, talk to them, go out to the job site. If they currently got a job site, go out there and see what kind of work they're doing and what kind of project they run. And then, if you got some questions, just hire them for a small task first. Don't give them the biggest job. Hire them for a small task first. A lot of times, if they're a big company, though, they don't do small jobs, baby. All they do is big. So in this case, you may not be able to. But if they're a medium-sized contractor, hire them for a small contracting job first and see how they do on that. And so once you get a good contractor, how do you keep them? How do you keep great contractors? Well, first of all, you got to treat them like they're a team member, right? And so when you think about your team members, you have bankers that's on your team, right? You got other types of, you got realtors that's on your team. You have to treat them like a team member. They're part of your team, and they're going to help you be successful. That means you pay them on time, you're courteous, you just make sure you treat them with the same dignity and respect that you would like them to treat you with, all right? So treat them like a team member. And then have some reasonable expectations, right? Don't be over the top with them. Just be whatever the contract says, stay with that contract. It's supposed to be completed in a certain amount of time. Draws are supposed to happen at a certain amount of time within the project. Make sure you clearly have those expectations and don't try to be overboard with your contractors. Again, also have a detailed and clear contracts. Make sure those contracts are very, very clear, spells out in detail the work that's going to be performed, right? And then always check references. We talked about that, and get a schedule. When is the work going to begin? How long it's going to be for demo? How long it's going to be when you put things back, and then how long it's going to take to the completion of this project. Always have a timeline on the expectations on when this project is going to be completed. And then be sure to drop by the property from time to time and check on the progress, right? You don't have to talk to anybody, just walk around and just observe what's going on, because it's your project and you have a right to be there at any time to inspect. But I wouldn't talk to the workers. If you see an issue, don't talk to them. You talk to the person that hired you, right? At the first sign of trouble, don't be afraid to fire them. I'm good at that. If we start getting into it and hey, boy, now you want to change this, you want to do that. This is not up to par. This is not what we agreed with. Hey, I'm not afraid to fire a contractor. Hey, we're not meeting each other's needs. Hey, then we need to sever this contract, right? So what contractors, what do they need to provide you? This is very, very important right here, right? Very important. First of all, you need to make sure you get a W-9 form. That means that you're going to be able to send them a 1099 miscellaneous for the work that they perform for you. That makes sure that you can write that off on your taxes, right? You have to send them a 1099. So you got to get their name, their address, their EIN number, or their social security number. And that's what you're going to get on that W-9 form. You need to get a copy of their contractor's license, right? You want a copy of that. You want a copy of their insurance to verify that they are insured. Don't just take their word for it. You need to verify that. And then you need a copy of their certificate of incorporation and make sure that it's up to date, in the state that they are operating in. And then lastly but not least, get some names and phone numbers of the references of the people that you're going to talk to see what kind of work that they do, so you can get a good understanding of how this contractor performs. And then some final thoughts. Final thoughts about contractors is, again, be sure you get the W-9, be sure you get the signed contract for services going to be provided, that both of you sign off on it. Never pay a lot of money up front to start, remember, unless it's just for some supplies. Again, I still don't like to pay more than 20% of the total project up front on the project. Make sure you keep good records regarding time and materials, and then do not pay the final balance prior to completion of the project. Once you pay them that final payment, you may never see them again. So you want to always hold that final payment until you're absolutely assured that that the project is completed and all the little things that you want to fix or fix. And then always have an exit plan if the contractor fails to perform according to what he said. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk. I know I went through a lot of stuff, but now here's your opportunity to ask questions. What questions do you have? I can go back to any slide and we can talk about it. So at this point, you can turn your videos on if you want to, and let's just talk about this whole contractor thing.
Hey, Mr. Ray, can you talk over that point again? Always have an exit plan if the contractor fails to perform according to estimate.
Yeah. So, my thinking right here is, let's say this contractor, you hired him, but somehow he just ain't getting it done, and you paid him some money, but the quality of work or something's not working out, then you need to tell him that this job is done, that you'll pay him for the work that's performed. And at some point, you got to agree on what that is. A lot of times they think they've done more work than you think, and so they want more money, but you got to make sure. That's why I said you only pay a quarter at a time. So if they get into the thing and they're a quarter of the way done and you don't like the work, to say, hey, we're done with this contract. And a lot of times what you'll need to do is make sure that you have a lien release signed so that they won't come back and file a lien on your property. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you.
What else? This is the important piece
Mr.
right
A.
here. You want to make sure that you manage these contractors right. So make sure you got your questions now. We gotta make sure that we do
Mr.
the
A.
right thing, baby.
Mr. A.
Yes.
Would that be why like some houses have like a $300 lien on it? It's probably because of a contractor, or could that be just anything?
It could be anything. Normally, a contractor will have a lien on it's going to be more than $300. Sometimes the $300 liens are just weed. The city may have came by and cut the weeds down. They'll put a $300 lien on it.
Mr. A, how long should you may have already covered this, but how long should you keep like receipts of that work done?
If you write this off on your taxes, you're required by the IRS to keep receipts for 3 years plus current.
Okay, so for the IRS, but what if like the contractor may come back? They may
He
be
can't
mad
come
at
back more than 3 years.
you. Okay.
Usually, if you got an issue, it's going to come up within that year. And that's why I said you always got to get a lien release to make sure that they can't put a lien on your property once the work has been completed. What else? Ooh, y'all gonna make me get out of here early today.
Mr. Ray, this is Laura.
Hey, Laura.
And so to write off on the taxes, you have to have the W-9, not just receipts.
You can have receipts, but the government requires that if you hire a contractor to do work and you pay them more than $600, you're required to have to send them a 1099. So the government knows that they made some money and that you'll be able to write that off. Now you can write it off without the 1099, but if you start having like $20,000 worth of work and the government sees you don't have any 1099, you're going to run into a problem, right? So
Okay.
if you don't have a lot of stuff being done, it's no big issue. But if you got a lot of projects going, you got a major project and it's over $5,000 or $10,000, you need to make sure you give them a 1099.
Okay.
I
And
mean, I'm sorry,
also
you need to make sure they sign the W-9,
sign a
so at the end of the
1099.
year, you give them a 1099.
Okay. And you just mail that to them. Is that what
Yeah.
you do?
Yeah, I have,
Okay.
what I do is my accountant mails them to them. So I give the accountant the name, their address, their EIN number, and the amount of money that I paid, and my accountant mails that to them. Sends me a copy and sends a copy to the person that I paid the money to.
Okay. Also on this property I'm getting, I'm gonna have to put in new windows.
Okay.
And the contractor said he's gonna need half, and that's for the windows because they gotta be cut and ordered.
Yeah, now when you're doing windows, that might be about right, because he has to order those windows.
Yeah.
And so,
Okay.
yes, he may require half just for the cost of the windows. I'm okay
Yes.
with that,
Okay.
because
That's all.
otherwise he's got to spend his money to do that. And really, you should be paying for the windows. But you make
Yes.
sure you get your receipts that those windows have been ordered and the amount. And so you write your check for the actual amount of those windows.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
And when she
What
writes
else?
that check, when she writes this check, is she's making this to the contractor or to the company?
He makes it to the contractor, and then he's probably getting a deal on the windows. So she
Okay.
makes it to him, but she can demand or she can request a copy of the receipt for the windows so she can see how much it costs. But you make the check out to the contractor.
Yes, he said he wanted it in his name.
Yeah, because he's got to order it and it's going to be ordered in his name. I don't have any problem with that. Make sense? Okay. What else?
Oh, and windows are expensive, just in case anybody wanted to know.
So the last windows I put in were all in cost was $200 a windows. How much of yours coming in at?
I might need your guy.
Yeah,
They coming in at $300 a window.
yeah. He's probably putting a little extra in there. Or it depends on the types of windows too, right? I
These
mean,
are
if they're top
vinyl.
of the line, it could be 300.
No, vinyl, single
Yeah.
plane.
So around here in Oklahoma,
Um,
you can get those for $200 all in.
But I got about 6 different estimates, and they
And
were around the same
yeah. So I think
price,
part of the
more.
problem is that, you know, supplies are low right now. Everybody's trying to do, you know, they're building a lot of homes, a lot of rehab is going on. So the price of them aren't going up. So it
Yeah,
could be
yeah,
about 300 now.
yeah. I mean,
And then
some of them
also
were
you
even
have
higher.
there's some lead time that's required for those windows. You know, it could
Yeah,
be,
it's 3 to 4
especially if you're getting them to fit, it could be 3 to 4 weeks before you get those windows.
Yeah, it is 3 to 4 weeks out. So
Yeah.
I thought I'd be having them, within a week or two, but
Yeah,
nope.
you thought you have it up and running by then, right?
Nope. So I'm learning a lot.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna take you 3 to 4 weeks, and then it's gonna take them another week to get them in.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, you're already a month out. So hopefully you can get other stuff done while you're waiting on the windows.
Yes.
What other questions?
I've got a question. So is there any kind of clause or agreement you can make to where you hold the contractor to a timeline? If they don't finish within that time frame, they'd be penalized, or you deduct from their pays or anything like
Yeah,
that?
and so what I like to do is, if they'll agree to this, but it's a two-edged sword. So let's say the contract, I want you to get this done in 30 days, you agree. So every day over 30 days that you don't get that completed, I want to be able to charge you $50, $75 a day, right? And so he might say, okay, well, that's fair. So if I get it done earlier, are you going to do it the same way? $50 to $75 a day gonna be deducted? So I mean, that's what you get into when you do that. But normally, if you say it's gonna be 30 days, that's all you pretty much got, unless you got something in the contract says there's a penalty clause if you don't get it done in that 30 days. Most contractors won't agree to that because they like to have that extra time. What else?
Hey, Mr. Ray, with respect to that $600, does that apply to repairs as well? So
To
like
what?
with a plumber, when they're coming multiple times for repairs, do you got to send them a 299 if
Now, if
like
it's
when the
just on
pipe
your
busted?
personal home, no, you don't have to. But if it's your business and this is something that you're going to write off on your taxes, if it's more than $600, you need to make sure that you have them sign that W-9 and then also send them a 1099. So if let's say you have them come over 3 times and it's like 200, 200, 200, well, now you're at 600, you need to get that W-9.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Good questions. What else?
So that question about the plumber. So if he come, say, $200 in January, and then he don't come back till the end of the year for another $400.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the year, you give him that W-9, or you
No, you
don't
have
know
him
he's
sign
coming
that
back.
W-9 before he even does work for you. That's part of
Okay.
you checking his insurance, you checking his license, you getting all this documentation. So just in case you get up to 600, you have that
Oh, okay.
documentation.
Okay.
So you get that early. And all it does is giving you his name, his address, and his EIN number or his social security number. And that's what the government's tying it to, the name of his business or his name, his social security number or his EIN number. And I don't know, there used to be a penalty, I haven't read up on this lately, that if you, as the owner, is the one that's paying that, you are required to give them that 1099. I don't know if the government has ever done anything to anybody that's not doing it. It's just one of those things that you just got to make sure. You don't want to be highlighted for not, issuing 1099 to people, especially if you got a lot of rental property, because that's one thing that'll be a red flag if you're not sending any 1099. It's one good way to get out of it. Put it like that. Good questions. What else? All righty. All right. Well, what time is it? Well, we didn't do the, we did not do, we didn't do homework, baby. Come on, let's do homework. Here was the homework this past week. Look at here. We had almost everybody got the home. This is what practice will do for you, baby. Practice will make it where you all get it right. We had only 2 that didn't get it right this time. I ain't trying to call y'all out, but everybody else got this right. And I want to give y'all an amen, a congratulations, great job. That means I don't have to do this practice on this one anymore, right? Once you get it where everybody now has got the formula down and you can do this on a consistent basis, it's all good, baby. It's all good. Any questions on the homework?
Yay.
Huh?
I said yay to us. We getting it.
Yay, yay. Vaughn and Ken, tell me what you guys struggle with on this.
I had a phone and it threw my numbers off. You can see that she pointed out to me, it was on my net cash flow, I believe.
Okay.
So I had it was just a miscalculation, sir.
Okay. All right. Ken, did you see what you did wrong? I don't know if Ken's on.
Mr. Ray, in your opinion, would this be a good deal?
In my opinion, net cash flow is 161. I don't do, if the net cash flow ain't at least $200, I normally don't do the deal.
Even, and what about like your like ROI? I guess that would kind of match cash flow versus ROI.
Yeah, because really, I want that return. I want my return on investment to be more than 4%. I want it to be up around 12%. And I want my net cash flow to be around $300 a month. So, I mean, most investors say, hey, look, I get paid 5 different ways. This is just one way, 2 ways I get paid on net cash flow and return. The other way I get paid, if the property is appreciating, I get the benefit of the tax benefit. I get the buy down on the loan. So, I mean, you put all that together and it might make sense. And this might be a good property. And even with just 161 cash flow, when I add everything up, right? It's in a nice neighborhood. It's I got a good tenant in there. I'm getting my bills paid every month. It might not be a bad property, but I like to set my threshold on net cash flow. And it's just me, right around $200 a month. But I mean, that's 40 bucks off, may not be too bad. What else?
I have one question, Mr. Ray.
Yes.
The last couple of times I've been a couple dollars or like just a little bit off on the net cash flow, and or might be also the monthly mortgage payment. And I've been putting the closing cost in that. Were you doing that as well?
Yeah, so you take the 80% or 70%, whatever the LTV, and you get what your balance that you're going to finance, and then you always add that closing cost to it. And that's what you're going to figure out what your monthly payment is on that.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out why I was off by just a little bit.
Yeah, I see a couple of numbers on here. I mean, it's close enough, but yeah, everybody's pretty close on this one. So we can take those numbers. 169, 161. I mean, you're talking a few dollars here. If you're within that threshold, then you're going to be okay. But congratulations, 90, almost 95% correct. That's pretty good. That means you're getting in some good practice, baby. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, let's see. It's getting close to time. Let's see. Let me go back here real quick.
Hey, Mr. Ray,
Yeah.
this Darren again.
Yeah, Darren.
I wasn't on there again.
Well, you not on there? How you not on
No,
there?
sir.
I
got the answers right all the time, but I'm just saying, I don't know if I don't want to get in trouble.
Tiffany. Is Tiffany here? She said she was gonna be a little bit late. So I don't know, maybe she didn't get it because I'm just basically staying out of it.
Oh no, she got it. I sent it to both emails and she responded.
But she didn't include it on here.
Like I said, I got the right answer. I'll just,
Okay.
it happened again. So I just
Well,
thought it was just.
we have to visit with Tiffany on that. She said she wasn't sure she was gonna make it tonight. She had another deal going, but why don't you make sure you send an email and carbon copy me that you wasn't included again. Sorry about
All
that.
right.
Sorry about that. All right, anybody else? So let's go back to, all right, let's go back to this. Got that final thoughts. All right, no class next Monday. It's gonna be Baytime. This is spring break, taking a break. So I won't have Thursday class and we won't have next Monday class. So, and there won't be any homework. So relax, enjoy, have a great time, enjoy the family, and we'll see you back in a week. So it won't be next Monday, it'll be a week from that Monday, all right? And so my Thursday class, those of you all in my Thursday class, we will not be having class this Thursday. I'm gonna take some much needed rest, kick back and have some Baytime, baby. Last thoughts before we go. All right, make sure you manage those contractors, baby. Keep your eye on the dollar. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are done. Everybody have a great week. I love you. See you next time.